So these are the drawings for ways to be feminist now. And if you look closely, you can see it's not about I'm a woman, woman's rights. These drawings all kind of explore the idea of a process-based, transparent reality. So there's things like build a structure you believe in, or pay attention to all the parts of your body, the cells and memories. So for us, we're thinking about feminism as a very embodied practice and very much connected to the way we feel intuitive in ourselves and connections that come intuitively on this earth.
Every year I invite about 20 people to make us a small book, and they make 150 copies and they sign and number them. Then I put them all together in a box. So this year, in Box of Books Volume 7, one of my favorites, although it's hard to choose between all 23 of them, is a book made by a very special friend of mine. He's 13 years old, his name is Urson, and he's totally obsessed with daggers and knives and bats and druids and armor and medieval stuff, so he made this amazing book. And his poster is really fun. It's a monster made out of bats, and his mouth is a cave. He's 13. And he's amazing.
I think the past decade has been a really interesting one in the Chinese art world. There's been a huge explosion of kind of commercial interest and success and a market for young Chinese artists. And in some ways, that's been really amazing. But then also some artists that maybe if they were coming from different contexts where there weren't as many resources or money floating around, would be starting out working on very small projects. Instead, you have recent graduates from art programs or even current students who are tapping into huge amounts of funding and capital and can do projects as immense as filling a warehouse with a full-scale freight train or something. So in some ways, the kind of really DIY, indie, handmade aesthetic that I think is really familiar in the West is still kind of new to the art scene in China, at least, mainland China. So I think that's been really interesting to see some artists that are consciously choosing to work in such a smaller, intimate, lo-fi medium, especially when they do have huge pools of capital available to them. So I think that's one reason that I was drawn to the indie comics and publishing scene, because it's definitely, that's really alternative to the alternative there, as opposed to here it's become pretty established already.
We started as Insert Press, and for some reason we decided to create a fake press at one point for like an art show called Blanc Press. So I made a fake book and made a fake press called Blanc Press. And in doing that, to make it seem real, I asked a lot of writers that I knew here in LA for titles of books that had supposedly been previously published by Blanc Press, but we hadn't actually published them. So it was just, they just gave me titles. And so, to make it seem like a real press is like all these writers. And at the opening and at some of the events, people were coming up to me saying like, what is this press? I've never heard of it. You publish such great writers. And I'm like, yes, I do. But that was in 2005, and then in 2010, I asked all of those authors that gave me these fake titles to actually write books to go with those titles, and that generated the Parrot series, which we've been doing since March of 2010. And so all of these titles were fake books that the authors never intended to write, and then I made them write that book. So like Blanc Press started becoming real, and so then I had to combine. I was running both Insert Press and Blanc Press, and I combined them last year to be Insert Blanc Press. I mean, that's what I found in creating a fake press is that it's strikingly similar to creating a real press. And I think that's the secret to a lot of publishing, is that I think people it's kind of like a punk rock aesthetic. You just make things happen, and then suddenly you're running a real press.